Good evening. My name is Juan Cassalett. I am the chef and co-owner of Malagon Restaurant. I've been lucky in my life to have amazing support from my wife, family, and friends. Without their support, I don't know if I would be here. Social norms, by definition, are unwritten rules by society that differ from culture to culture and make up what is normal, acceptable, and respectable behavior. Peer pressure, family, and life are all behind the choices we make. Everybody wants to fit in. Nobody wants to be seen as different or strange. One social norm that is commonly swept under the rug by society is depression. Depression is a term that has a negative connotation in society. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, about 1 in 5 Americans live with mental illness, yet only 1 in 5 receive treatment. Nowhere is this more apparent than in food and beverage industry. Just over 15 million people, roughly 10% of the US workforce, are employed in some part of the restaurant industry. According to the National Restaurant Association, the industry's long hours, intense work, high stress are all factors to mental health and behavioral problems. Long hours lead to late nights. Hospitality and food service were found have the highest illicit drug and third highest alcohol use. While most people go out to have a drink with friends, people who suffer from depression tend to go out to subdue their problems. The feeling to look cool amongst your peers becomes more important than taking care of yourself. For me personally, I've always been very self-critical. Many times not knowing allowed me to believe myself and projecting feelings onto others. Growing up, I was always compared myself to my siblings. They were and are so much more educationally focused than I ever was. I hated school, and I really struggled to keep up. I would get so nervous and anxious before a test and exams that I wouldn't even give myself a chance to succeed. I decided the school wasn't for me and decided to start working in restaurants. Being in that high-stress environment and not having confidence in myself, I would be in situations where the stress and anxiety would be too much for me to handle. I didn't feel balanced. If I was having a good day, it was a great day. When I was having a bad day, it was awful. Many times, I was talked to by my bosses, told that if I didn't change my attitude, I'd have to find a new job. I was left very depressed and contemplating what I was doing with my life. Some days I was able to forget about it, and others it would seem as if the world was going to end. The ups and downs were normal to me, but for the people around me, it was a nightmare, not knowing which person they were going to get. No matter what restaurant it was, I found myself in the same situation, always blaming it on something other than myself. Jill, my soon-to-be wife, would question why I was so unhappy. Why was I so negative all the time? I had so many positive things around me, but all I could concentrate on were the negatives. Never feeling like a negative person, I was aggravated and depressed to hear this from someone that I cared so much and loved so much. She was giving me some real tough love, and I wasn't able to see it. The ultimate stress and depression came when I opened up Chez Nu. A time that should have been the most exciting time in my life was filled with tension and depression. I was living my dream. I opened up my own restaurant, got married, but still it wasn't enough. My wife, the patient, caring person, would ask if maybe it would help if I talked to somebody. Being the hard-headed person, I always came up with excuse after excuse why I didn't need help. For me, going to a therapist seemed worthless. What could some random person do for me? In my head, I thought I was going through something and eventually would go away and everything would be normal. All this time, I became more erratic and moodier. My moods would be so toxic. Everybody would walk on eggshells around me, terrified of the potential of me losing my cool for the smallest thing or noise. I didn't understand what I was doing. I felt like I was constantly under a microscope. Not once did I understand the possibility that I was causing all of this, projecting feelings onto people that weren't real. I became so depressed that I contemplated taking my own life. I was lost. The whole time the help was around me, but I was lost in my own depression that I couldn't see it. Things continued to get worse. My marriage was in trouble. The one person that had been by my side through the best and worst times was on her last straw. She was defeated. I was on the verge of losing my best friend. I knew that I needed help, but I didn't know where to start. One day, a friend of mine talked to me about they had noticed my behavior had been very erratic lately. They talked to me about their own struggles and what they had gone through, allowed me to see things in a different light, that I wasn't alone, how talking to somebody was very helpful for them and how it might be for them as well, for me as well. Being able to talk with someone was just going to be a sounding board, allow me to talk about my problems without any repercussion. Finding that right therapist wasn't easy though. I am very grateful that I was able to find the right person. At first, I was very reserved, not wanting to open up in fear of being ridiculed. After a couple of sessions, I started to open up. Little by little, I began to feel a little been reluctant to talk about. I began to feel the pressure off my chest. Everything wasn't life or death. It was as if I was given a second chance. My marriage was improving, work was less stressful. I was finally starting to see how much actions were hurting everyone around me. With all the pressure starting to dissipate, I realized how much energy I had been wasting. Every day being paranoid if it was going to be a good day or a bad day. I was able to focus my energy on life. I started listening instead of reacting, getting exercise, and most of all, just having fun. Since we opened up Malagon, I have turned from needing help to giving help. It has felt amazing to open up with my team about my struggles, allowing them to know that they are not alone. It made me realize that we need to start changing our thoughts on mental health, being open to talk about it, so that hopefully it will become just a norm. Thank you.